Most people don't fail at manifestation because they lack discipline. They fail because they unknowingly violate an ancient, deep law. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I will give you an example by myself, by my old self, okay, and how I was in the past. So I was grinding, for example, very hard, right? I was very structured and disciplined with my thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem is the harder I tried to get what I want, the further it seemed to go away from me, right? So I tried very hard. I visualized, I used affirmations, everything. And of course, I took tons of action as well. But despite using all of these things simultaneously, the goal could have not been further away from me. My vision could have not been not further away from me. Now, let me explain. A lot of these ancient religions, they talk about balance. I'm sure you heard about this concept of balance. But there's one thing that most people don't understand. So most people think balance is about being in the middle. You know, you have to be always in the fucking middle. And that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. In reality, balance or imbalance is created when you're too over-identified with one side of life. Okay? Now, as I started to be less rigid, less just poorly structured, but more flexible. Okay? Why? Not because I'm in the middle, but because I started to be less identified with one side. Things started to become more effortless, right? It has become way easier to reach my goals, right? And this is an example. So I will tell you after this video how you can use the law. And this law means everything is equally important. This is what you need to understand. Fuck with the word balance, it's just confusing. Okay, everything is equally important. If you understand what this is and how to use that, your manifestation will skyrocket. You will also understand why currently maybe you don't manifest as fast as you want to, right? Okay, so I give you another example. Everything, as I said, is equally important. Once you understand this, everything is equally important. And I don't mean just intellectually. Then you will realize you will have way less resistance towards manifestation. The less you still see things, and I mean on a psychological level, the more you see it as unequally important, the more resistance you create. For example, let's say there is someone, he grinds towards having a lot of money, right? Now the problem is he does look at his other areas of life. He wants to be very, very rich, financially free, right? Now here are his other areas, and here is this area. Okay, so he focuses more this area, and he forgets his other areas, and this creates resistance. He pedestalizes this area. The more he pedestalizes this area, the more resistance he creates. The more resistance he creates, the more his state suffers. He collects more resistance towards his goal. Then basically, the more resistance he has, the further subconsciously he goes away from his goal. So despite taking action, he goes further away from his goal. His goal becomes more out of reach. He becomes internally more stressed, okay, more conflicted. Here's another example. Now, many people think it just works with these areas, but it works also with character traits. Let's say there's a person. This person believes he needs first to be confident before he can take action. Okay? A lot of people have this problem, I think, in the modern spiritual space. Now, this creates more imbalance and creates more resistance. As a result, one suffers and feels bad about oneself. There needs to be a balance between the inner world and the outer world. So the inner world needs to be taken care of, and there needs to be also an outer action. Okay? Now, it's not about the perfect middle, like I said. In reality, this is bullshit. It's about identification. Right? When you identify with everything equally, this is when you're truly at balance. The modern philosophy that says you have to be in the middle, it's complete bullshit. Okay? You will never ever be completely in the middle everywhere. Like, just do you know it's a single person who lives like that? There's no one. No one. Okay? Would have to control reality all the time to be like that. It's not about that. It's about identification. Now, how can you solve that? How you can really see everything as equally important, so that you reduce your resistance. And once you reduce your resistance, you can manifest effortlessly, right? Because now you don't diminish or pedestalize something. If you don't pedestalize money, money is easy to get, right? You have to realize something. One is to look at your areas of life. Which area of life do you over focus on? Okay? And which area of your life do you not focus enough? Not at all. Maybe even you try to look away from it, even though you know it needs attention. Now, this area will create more resistance and keep nagging on you, and will drag you even down one day. I talk from experience. Okay? I had this problem with one of our clients at the very beginning. He was he was a very spontaneous guy, and he was very open-minded. But the problem was when it was coming to structure, he was not focusing on that at all. So he was way too open, and very often he was distracted. He had no direction in life, right? He was way too easy distracted. But once we worked with him together, he started to be more disciplined. He started to be more consistent, okay? And later he started to get his first clients, right? So basically he started to identify less of one side and integrated more of the other side. And this allowed him to manifest things again, okay? Yeah, so look at your life areas, and the others, look at your traits. How would you describe yourself? Like, literally describe yourself, who you are, and write it down. Like, write your character traits shortly on a list. And then ask yourself, okay, what is the opposite of that? So what is the opposite trait? And now ask yourself, with which side are you more identified? Towards which side do you feel resistance? Probably the opposite. Yeah, towards which trait do you feel more resistance, and towards which trait do you not? With which trait are you identified? Towards which trait do you feel more resistance, or do you feel maybe like both are equally important? Whenever you feel like both are equally important, there's no resistance, even if you're honest. This is when you made it, and this means less resistance will be generated, less force against you. The more force you generate, the more forceful it feels, life feels. This is why manifestation feels forceful and hard. The more you see everything is equally important, the less force there is. So manifestation is very effortless, right? It's more like an enjoyment, or at least quite often, right? And this is basically what you do. And once resistance appears, what do you do? What is the next step? So once the resistance appears there, let's say you know your opposite trait, let's say you're very structured, consistent. Your opposite trait here is that you're not flexible enough. Then focus on being more flexible and observe consciously the resistance that arises. Do not try to fight it. Okay, do not try to fight this resistance. Instead, let it arise and be with it. Okay, become conscious of it. Everything dissolves in awareness. Every form of resistance dissolves in awareness, right? So focus on the traits that you resist and allow yourself to observe them consciously. There's also the resistance that arises consciously. And be at all times aware where you stand. Okay? So which are the traits that you resist and which are not? And which are the areas of life that you resist? And which are the areas of life that you pedestalize, that you overfocus too much, and as a result you suffer. It feels very hard, right? And yeah, comment below what helped you the most, what is the lesson, or share some feedback that you have about the video overall, right? And if you want more help to dive even deeper, right, to master manifestation, to be more aligned with your vision, then click on the description below and then you can join a free call with me where we can talk how I can help you.